All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Health Made Simple show. I'm Dr. Bart, your host. If you're here for the first time, awesome. Love having you. And of course, if you've come back, keep coming back. We love having you. I got a special guest today. I guess I can call him my friend, right? And my friend. I'm also a fan. I got to say that. I'm a fan of athletics. I'm a fan of sports and getting to know you over the years and your family. I'm a fan of you. So Colin is an NFL player. But also, Colin, as I dive in a little deeper, and I recognize that you're also an entrepreneur.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
We said before we got on here, you said, how you doing? I said, good. Everything's normal. 10 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag. If it gets to be 20 pounds of shit in a 5-pound bag, then like this season, then I disappear to Key West for 2 weeks. So, I'm back from Key West. I'm refueled and I'm ready to rock and roll, man. The media company, along with being a pro athlete, along with taking care of your body, along with the nutrition side. I mean, I'm chugging a water here as we're getting on the thing to make sure I'm hitting my number for the day. So yeah, it's fun, man. I love it. It's been great.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for being here. I have all kinds of questions. One, I'll just say that I'm a huge sports fan. So this is exciting just for me. And what's changed for me as a sports fan over the years is that I went from, I'll call myself a pseudo athlete, and I have an incredible wife she's like the real athlete in the family. I'm a pseudo athlete who enjoyed and loved everything, probably just mediocre at everything. And I've always trained hard and worked hard to do things. And now I see athletics, especially in high level stuff, or not even high level stuff, any level of athletics. I see incredible things happening every day. Often we see the highlights, the superstars, and that's such a small percentage. One of the things I think I love and appreciate most about every man and woman out there, every child out there that is competing, is that they're willing to put it on the line. So with that being said, at the end of the day, truth is one team wins, one team fails.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me a little about that adversity, or to our listeners about the adversity of failure, because you can't be an athlete without having some thick skin.
Yeah, I think it's really unique. Right. It's a great question. It's such a bear to accomplish and it's almost an internal look for me. Like, okay, how did I develop my thick skin? It wasn't easy. I think it's through training, like anything. Like none of us are born tough, but you can really work that and flex that skill, but you can't really do it yourself. I mean, yes, you have to pull through, but there's something about when you're in college and you're starting to become a man or a woman or whatever that is, or those prime years, say for a man, I can talk about those, where you're an 18-year-old boy, you think you're a man, and you do everything you can with all your energy, and you let the team down. You let the tribe down. You let the group down. I remember a high school football coach of mine, one of the best in the world, Mike Carey. He was a part of the Central Bucks West days, and Mike Pettin, who went on to the NFL, and a lot of success from Pennsylvania, really a lot of good high school football. And I had one of the best games of my life, and he told me, put his arm around me, you unbelievable game. And he benched me the following week for a freshman, and I was a senior All-American because my effort wasn't what he wanted it to be. And I would come home on Tuesdays after full padded practice and be a mess at the table. My parents tell the story all the time. Tuesday dinners were always rough. It always ended up in tears. What am I doing? Am I doing the right thing? Am I fit for this game? And then turn around on Friday and Saturday because of that fuel, because of that going to that dark place that allowed me to rise up and go to another alley and go to places that probably and heights that I don't think I would have reached before. So I think that was the first stage of mental toughness. The second stage, or the first stage, probably my parents. That would be the second stage, kind of the coaching and the belittling in a respectful way. My parents mentally, I mean, my dad was all about visualization as a kid. I remember I'd have struggle like in basketball, finishing around the rim, $1 million move, 10-cent finish. Like I'd always have these great moves because I worked on them, but I didn't have the finesse. I didn't play enough. I played every sport, so I didn't focus. But my dad being like, visualize yourself finishing, visualize yourself catching the football, making that block, making that tackle, having that success. And then it would follow up on my mom taking me to the Giants Super Bowl parade, and we weren't even Giants fans. And she says, you need to visualize this. You want to see this. You want to reach this. You want to play in the NFL as an 8th grader. You need to see this with your own 2 eyes. So we're at the ticker tape parade, and her phone's blowing up from my elementary school. This is not an excused absence for your son. My mom's like, guys, I don't care. This is the best education my son could ever get. So I think the core pillars of good coaches from a youth age because there's not a lot of good ones. It's a shame. It really draws me to it to give back because there's a space there.
Mm-hmm.
And then secondly, what's at home? Because that allowed me, and seeing my mom getting up every day, I didn't even see it. I didn't even notice. She'd be up at 5, open her retail stores, get things going, come back for breakfast. And then my dad would take us to school and he'd be off to work at 7:30. So seeing those things, the combination of coaching, the combination of focusing on what you can control, and the combination of failure probably leads you to this place of, okay, thick skin, here I am. I'm in the NFL. I'm playing great. I'm healthy. I'm happy. We're making money. My relationship's healthy, happy, and strong with my wife, my friends. We're buying houses. We're investing. 2 years in a row. 2020 was like the best year of my life. COVID, some people may say it's the worst. 2021, great year as well. And then 2022 hits this last season, and I have 4 calf strains in 2 months and kind of hit rock bottom when it comes to mental and physical just focus. Now I plowed through it and found a way to get through it, and I have a great, great support system. And fortunately, the same strength staff, the same sports science staff was my same one at Temple in 2014 to 16. They were in Carolina with Coach Rule. Even though he was released, all those guys stayed on the job. So I know them all over the place, but that's kind of the roundabout of the mental toughness world to push through, and really having that last goal in mind and that visualization from the young age from my parents of this is what I want to do, and having vision boards of, Jeremy Shockey up on my wall as a kid and being like, wow, as you know, I'm a Jason Witten fan too. He's on my wall. Wow. And I'm like, this is what I want to do. And this is who I'm going to be. And seeing that every day helped me make those right decisions, those tough decisions for the mental toughness to get where I am today and push through, getting cut because I broke my right foot twice and my left foot from University of Florida, which I didn't even think you can get cut from college. And then transferring and having a long distance relationship with my now wife for 7-8 years, and how hard that is. And then going to the NFL, and I get my first NFL game, and I wake up the next day and I have emergency appendectomy, and the Giants relieved me of my scholarship, and I don't make a dime of the $2 million deal I signed other than $4,500, and then the adversity that keeps going of playing minor league football and then now to the NFL. So I know it's a roundabout answer, but yeah, mental toughness plays a huge role in everything.
Well, I appreciate the roundabout answer, because I think that's the only truth, right?
Yeah.
If it was just one thing, we'd be like, oh, I'm going to get tough tomorrow. I'm going to do that one thing. So you said a couple of things, and I want to dive in to those because I think they're so applicable in life. Visualization on 2 levels. One, observing, just literally as a young man, a young woman, observing other people just doing their shit, right? Like just every day, like you talk to your mom, just getting the work done. And then maybe you have the visualization of the success. And when you're maybe having, Jason Witten, a poster of him on the wall, maybe going to a parade and starting to visualize the possibility of you, getting a trophy or something like that. I think those are so important. And I think that's what often holds a lot of people back. I'm in healthcare, of course. And so what I'll see too frequently is that people focus on the short-term potential of loss. And as a result of it, they don't want to go forward because there could be a failure step. And so that, they don't, maybe I can't change my diet like this. I'll fail the first week, so I'm not going to do it at all. And they stop visualizing that. So for those that don't know, so we're going to have a real mixed audience listening to this. So I have a lot of my health health tribe, I'm going to call it. They're going to be like football, tight end. So I need to at least kind of explain your position. So Colin's position, and this is my interpretation. You might have a totally different one. Having some friends that are in the NFL that are tight ends, it's a very, very unique position to me on the football field. So for example, Colin's on the offensive side, and he's a large man. To me, you're huge. Okay, just FYI, right? So you're what, probably 6'4", 250, something like that.
Yep,
right?
55. Yep, I'm and my father-in-law would be like, he's small. Don't tell him that, Bart.
So
he's small.
For 5'10", 180 guy, you're huge to me. All right. Yet on the football field, you have a unique, to me, the tight end is probably, and I think right now it's probably becoming a super recognized, valuable position, maybe the most valuable. And we see guys like Kelsey, and who's a guy out of San Francisco?
Kittle.
These guys are really showing what that position, how valuable it is to the team. Anyways, your position, you have to block against probably the world's greatest athletes.
They're the highest paid guys on every team.
Okay, that usually means best athletes in the world.
Or first round pick, best athlete in the world.
Yeah. So you got to block against them, but then you're also asked to have this nimbleness to run a perfect route and then outrun one of the fastest or one of the best athletes, which usually could be a linebacker, right?
Yeah, safety. Linebackers like the defensive side of what we do. So if they can run and hit, they're really valuable. If they're bigger, if they're slower, they're not as valuable anymore because you got to guard these tight ends. You have to guard these running backs. So you can match up on a safety who's definitely faster than you. Maybe not Kelsey and some Kittle, but the rest of us, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's all matchups, this league. And like you're at a tight end, you're at a disadvantage in every part of what you're doing.
And that word right there, disadvantage. So I got to imagine going to work for you. You got to be like, here we go. Right? Like
all of us are a mess.
Yeah, right. Like you're about to go take a whooping. You sign up for it every day to keep going, and with really no guarantees as you've experienced. And so I appreciate the fact the roundabout there, and I think that that's so true. And I think in the health world too, that we have to visualize ourselves with literally plenty of energy, with vitality, with love in our hearts, with good mobility. We have to visualize ourselves like the best version of ourselves, and sometimes people stop seeing that.
Yeah, it's tough. That's a great point. I mean, this year when I was at the kind of the rock bottom, the best version of myself, like even with my diet, when you're especially in the football reward society, I'll touch on that real quick, right? In college, you finish this big lift on a Friday at 6 a.m. You just finished a massive week. You're going to go. Now, a lot of us needed to gain weight. I certainly did not. But, belly up to the breakfast buffet and get the waffle and get the omelets and get, crazy amounts of food, eat crush, and then take a nap and then go out and have, a case of beer back in college, and was that reward society of like, I just finished a tough work week. We're all together. It made us closer, but it made you probably farther away from your physical goals. And then when you're when you're a professional and things are hitting the fan and there's food everywhere, especially for me, that was really tough this year to be like, hey man, you're not running. You have a calf strain. You're not really even on the bike. You're not allowed to do a lot of cardio. Are you burning the same amount of calories? So I try to really uptick my water intake. I try to really focus on like, this is what I'm gonna eat every day. But it's hard when you're like, man, I am in a miserable mood. And there's someone brought in breakfast sandwiches from outside and they have queso cheese on them. And it's like, whew, like that was really hard for me because again, it's not like normal work where it's like, in my opinion, where you get a review on how you did in work, but now you're getting a review on how you did mentally and physically. And I think that adds a whole nother can of worms to it where are you good enough? And not even like, are you good enough mentally to be strong and keep working and study and go back to school and whatever that may be, but are you good physically enough? Was my training enough? So that is in the whole another mental side of it of, yes, my training is enough. And some things went a wrong way. And that's football. We don't play another sport.
Yeah. It's that mindset about nutrition is huge. So my show, I talk to people all the time and I kind of confess, I'm a stress eater. Right. All right. So for example, I'm watching Super Bowl. I don't have anything to win or lose. I'm eating everything in sight.
Chips, wings.
And I think the value of recognizing it gives you a first step of maybe overcoming it. Maybe if you're good.
How to prepare for it. Maybe you got to eat a meal before the event.
Yeah. So the way I shake it down is that I do the shopping in the house and I'm really good with lists. So if I make a list, I'll make the right list. I won't put Cheetos on that list, right? So just not happening. I go to the grocery store and I will buy, if there's 12 items, there's on the list, I buy 12 items. My wife comes back, she's like, this is all you bought? I'm like, it's all on the list. So that's preparation to me, preparing myself to win, because I know that whatever's in the house, probably on Sunday, especially if my team's playing, there's a good chance I'm going to eat it here.
Yeah. And the list is huge for me too. Like go back to the tight end position. There's a lot of boxes we have to check off. Now, every player has these too, trust me, but the things we have to do in the run game, the pass game, in the screen game, in protection for the quarterback, for special teams obligations, you're involved in every single thing I'm a backup long snapper. Like you can't work on it. Like it never stops. The work never ends. So compartmentalizing that and, okay, now I'm here lifting my feet where my feet are. Okay. I can check a couple boxes by being here. Now I'm here in the film study. I can check a couple boxes with the visualization with like, I watch a ton of tight ends in the league. You and I've talked about Jason Witten at length. I grew up watching Jason. You know, I watch him. I watch George Kittle. I watch guys that move and like me a little bit. I try to move like them more probably than I move like they move like me. I move less of them. But I try to visualize like that too. And nutritionally, it's the same thing. It's like every body's shaped differently too in the NFL. Like these offensive linemen now, some of them still have the big guts, but the vast majority do not have the big gut. They are big. They are strong. They have, I mean, meal plans, meal prep. We have a full-time nutritionist that's helping get those connections for you. You know, and that's, you know, the next stage too that I put in kind of our notes before. It's like, that was the best part about having a team nutritionist. It's like, okay, I'm having trouble sleeping. How do I go about this? And then you can mix that in with the team psychiatrist too. And then the team's athletic trainers too. So everyone kind of works together in our own kind of little nucleus, this old like kind of cul-de-sac of like different houses. And you can go to each department and blend it all together to help you do better. I can go to the strength program and say, hey guys, listen, how do I recover the best? Well, listen, just lay on the field after practice, work on some deep breathing. That will start your recovery practice the fastest. You may look, people may laugh at you that you're laying on the field doing a deep breathing, but do it right after practice is going to start the recovery process faster than guys where they're still jacked up for 20, 30, 40 minutes after practice. So I'm rambling on again, but that's how beautiful our football world is. And of course, it's not perfect, trust me, but there's a lot of really great resources that we're able to lean on.
That's great. That's great to hear. I would tell you, when I first got involved in helping athletes, a lot of them were like mixed martial artists, professional fighters, NFL players, some baseball guys in the beginning. So I've been doing this for a fair amount of time. This is my 26th year. And when I first started, I was actually surprised at how little of an investment, how little of all of that you're talking about. So I love hearing that. So that there's more resources now. And over the last couple of years, especially, it sounds like there's more and more. So you've been in the league, I think, since 17, is that correct? So
yes, in and out.
In and out. So for those 5 years, have you seen a difference?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'll say this, I've been fortunate because it depends where you are. Like University of Florida, we had 2 full-time nutritionists. Sarah Snyder, who's with the Baltimore Ravens now, was our nutritionist then. And then I forgot Kelsey, who's actually still there in Gainesville. She left and came back. So you have that support. Then you go to a Temple where the strength guy's a nutritionist. You don't have the budget for it, right? Yeah. So PB&J, chocolate milks. Well, but you know what? It works. And it's because it's a part of the brand. It was a part of what we did there. There's also a fit factor and how it fits into the team. And then sure, if there's another level to it, I need to lose weight, the guys are helping you with that too. But it's not as, specific. And then you get to the NFL and like you're in a bod pod and they're taking your blood. And the Giants gave me a book this thick of what my blood test says, where am I allergic to? What, vitamins do I need to take more of every day? And fortunately over the years, it's been instilled in my family, like a high water intake, multivitamins, fish oil, vitamin C, like that's always been the conversation. And then around my in-laws, as you know, it's a very similar conversation. So it's been really nice on that perspective. I'm good in that department. Always can be better, but good. But yeah, I mean, it's in depth. I mean, the chiropractors, the good organizations, from the chiropractors to the massage therapists, to the strength coaches, to the team psychiatrists, to the athletic trainers, to the GM, to the head coach, everyone's on the same page. And that's hard to do. And not everyone can do it. Everybody says they do it, but very hard to do. So yeah, we have great resources and there's great people in the business to help you get what you need to do physically from a nutrition standpoint to help you have a lot of success. Full meal plans too, 3 meals a day at the facility, whatever you need. Some are better than others. Some are unreal, which hurt me because I was with the Giants. It was ridiculously good.
Got it.
And then I put on too much weight probably.
Got it. So we met in my office because you were coming in to get chiropractic care, which is awesome. So walk me through, like, what does your life look like now? If you're in season, you're getting banged up regularly, what are you using to help yourself recover? If I had to watch, you're had a hard week, you're training hard, literally physically getting beat up. Do you have a protocol? Do you have routines now? If you would share them.
Yeah. So I'll give you the in-season routine for me in a kind of roundabout way. You're looking at the sauna 4 days a week off the jump, minimum 20 minutes of sweating per session. That's been a big thing in Carolina. People wrap their arms around the cardiovascular health with that, and all the other things with it. I'm sure you've talked about on here before too. So the sauna is huge part of what I do. Lifting routines, 3 to 4 days a week, whatever that may be. A prehab routine every day, pre-practice of balance work, calf strengthening. Hey, shoulders here, warming up the body. Is it overhead squatting with a barbell? That makes me feel good. So a lot of what makes you feel good. And then a lot of, soft tissue work, the masseuse, massage therapist, once to twice a week, trying to make that happen, whether it's at the house or at the facility. And then to me, a couple things. One, chiropractic care at least once a week for me in season, mixed with some dry needling during that session and some movement that comes with it has been really big for me. I've grown into the dry needling world. I haven't always been a fan of it, but I know it's really good for me and I push through. So that's kind of what it looks like in a kind of roundabout way. Start the morning with a big cold plunge to get the day started and try to do at least 10 minutes a week total in the cold plunge. So a minute at a time. I'll go completely under submerged for about 15, 20 seconds. Yeah, just get it rocking and rolling, man. Hot tub, and then usually a sauna to start the day and kind of get the electrolytes back in. And we usually practice around midday. So if that's at 7 a.m, you get time to build the electrolytes back up. I call it my fresh start to the day with the coffee, get it moving. And it makes me feel good mentally and physically. And then I chill in meetings for 2-3 hours, do about a 30-minute warm up. I say chill, physically relax in meetings for 2-3 hours, and then go from there. That's kind of what the end season looks like. And then you usually lift post practice. That's always been, since I'm pro and I have that choice, I really enjoy that side of it where I can go back to my locker, get a little fuel back in my body post practice, get a pickle juice or two in me to get my sodium back up, get, say my creatine back in, get whatever I need to do, minos, get the body back rolling for 20-30 minutes and shut down the engines. Cause I don't like just rolling into a lift at their practice and just getting through it. I've done it before because you have a short window for meetings. But I'd rather get a good quality lift in than just pour off the field after I lost 6-7 pounds of liquid. And then some guys are in there just like rolling through it and they're exhausted and they're just trying to get through it instead of actually really investing in your strength. So that's what I do in season.
Fascinating. So you're in the business of full-time health.
Yeah, I guess you put
really
it that way.
Like your body is your business at this point in your life.
Yeah.
I'm guessing that it was probably, and maybe you could speak to this, is it a little bit different for the young dude that just walking through the doors?
Yeah. So
they probably just don't have the experience to know how valuable all the pre and post recoveries are, right?
So there's a player on our team. I'm not going to mention his name in Carolina. I'm a technically free agent, so I'm not on the team anymore, but he's one of my great friends. And the first couple weeks when he was a rookie, not this past year, the year before, 2021, he was playing basketball in the locker room. We have a big hoop in there. We got ping pong, everyone's competing. That was Coach Rule's thing. We're going to compete in everything. So guys are shooting hoops. Like Tommy be doing like dunk contests in Crocs, and his football pants would be on for like 45 minutes after practice. That's where he just lost 10, 20 pounds at practice. Like literally, that's how hard he plays. He loses like 10 to 15 pounds at practice. So he ends up getting hit in a game. And I would tell him every week, Tommy, and I'm saying his name now. It's Tommy Tremble. He's a good friend of mine. He doesn't mind about me telling the story. I don't think. And if I did, Tom, I love you. He knows I love him. But Tommy gets hit against Dallas, took a big lick. And I told him every week, Tommy, put the basketball down. Go into the weight room, get into the cold tub, start that process. When your day's over, get into it. But he just loves to compete. Like it's a good thing. It's healthy. But just like channel that here for this period of time, and then you're going to be fine. And so Tom took the hit and he kind of was like, oh my God, you're right, dude. Like, I don't have the energy anymore to be doing this. Like this NFL season's 3 times as long as a college football season, preseason games, OTAs, playoffs, if we're fortunate enough. It is a long season. So for Tom, he came up to me one day. He's like, dude, you're right. Like, I got to dial in. Even though he was dialed in, I just can't be doing all this extracurriculars. Like, I can't be wasting my energy because it's now week 6. We're just a third way through the season, and I got to continue to perform at a high level. So the young guys, they have a lot to learn. The guys that are the grinders, that are the young guys, really find a way to make it. They'll find a way to make it. They may have to go to the XFL and the AAF and the USFL, and they may have to go to a practice squad. But at the end of the day, you look up and they've been healthy for 6-7 years. They are now on an equal playing field with a draft pick. because the draft pick starts here. And then if they don't accelerate, the undrafted guys will catch them. Half the league is undrafted too, folks, by the way. So for those at home that wouldn't know, there's 7 rounds, 32 picks, 32 teams, 7 rounds. Half the league comes from the draft. Half the league comes from players that are undrafted, like myself. You sign after.
Wow.
So it's a great little story about Tommy, though, of a young guy who's a freak, strong, unbelievable athlete, but he's really hard. He's really focusing on his grind now, and he's had a ton of success because of it. So, yeah, there's a lot to digest with the young athlete there, but it's like, and I would say this too, and I know we're going to move on, but Christian McCaffrey is the only player that I've ever played with that is a freak of nature, but also works literally the hardest person on the team. He was the hardest working person on the team. He's the combination though. Christian is a freak and he works extremely hard.
Yeah.
They're usually not there. Usually it's freak and then here, or your guy like me who's like not a freak but works really hard to make up the gap.
Yeah.
He's the one guy. There's very few in the NFL that are like that. Maybe a handful.
Two things there. One on that comment. It's very interesting because over all these years of being involved with athletes, we're always inundated with the gifted ones and the freaks. Yet rarely, quite frankly, do I see them have longevity. Rarely do I see them as the champions. It's the underdog that has the work ethic and puts it all together, the grinders, if you want to call it, to become successful. So you mentioned so he's a young guy, and you're a young guy to me, right? So as a young guy, you've learned some incredible, valuable lessons that I hope and pray, and I know you're with your family and your tribe, that this will happen, that you will use that and transfer that into life, whatever is your next journey. Our culture, the dilemma right now, quite frankly, Colin, is that we don't see the fact that we need to perform at a high level every day as we're 30 and 40 and 50 years old and have the correlation to what we're doing with our health every day. It's huge. It's massive. And then people wake up at 30, 40, 50, 60 years old and go, what happened? What's the magic pill? What's that biohack to change all of this at one time? That mentality right there is that observation and learning quickly. The quicker we learn it, the better. And that's why I love it. So you're probably in your 20s. Is that correct?
Yeah, 29. Getting close to my 30s.
Yeah. So, which is old man, right? So the beauty is if you can take that mentality and move it forward, it's wonderful. So I often talk to my patients about this. I'll give them a lot of things. So how to move better, eat better, think better. I usually wrap the health, let's say the movement, leveling up around those 3 things: how you move, how you eat, and how you think. And I will tell them this, and I'm always trying to be the truth slayer and say, in the event that you find yourself doing less work than you are right now, next year, you're going to get less results. In fact, you have to do more next year than you've ever done before and expect maybe the same results. It's going to get harder, not easier. And the moment you wrap your brain about that, it actually gets easy. So that is, it sounds like the same message as now kind of moving into your veteran years of being around the league for 5 years and knowing what the grind is. You instantly can say, listen, put all of this work in regardless of the results you're getting today. Because if you get used to putting that work in, it's no big deal down the road.
Double down, right? A lot of people say that, like every year you got to double down on what you do. Yeah, there's some people that are going to be listening to this show that's like, you do the same thing every year, every day. You're going to tinker off. You have to really double down with what you do with your nutrition, physically, especially in football, because the competition is rolling. There'll be 100 people behind you to take your job in a minute. Yeah,
and I think that gets forgotten when we watch these young men and women go out and perform, and whether it be in the Olympics or we see professional sports, and we see these and we judge them, right? So easily. We judge, oh, you suck at that. But they don't realize that pressure, the emotional pressure that's on an athlete to perform only to perfection. And which then it goes in, which brings up another, topic of almost how important tribe is, because as an athlete, you'd probably agree, you're kind of under a microscope, right? So if you go out and you have a couple too many beers and you do something stupid, it could be front page news.
Yeah, you lose your job. For a guy like me, I lose my job.
Yeah, you lose your job, you lose your credibility.
If you're a bigger guy, right, and more value to an organization, you're probably not going to lose your job, right? It's just the nature of business. We all know that. And people can say, that's messed up. Well, listen, folks, if you're the VP of a company, you get a Dewey, like you're probably not going to lose your job because you bring a lot of value. But if you're a low level person, tight end, the bottom of the roster, and listen, I had my fun, don't get me wrong, but I'm trying to Uber and I try to, make those decisions.
So let's tap into that fun conversation here. So
Yeah.
let's talk about alcohol for a moment as an athlete.
Yeah.
I think growing up is kind of part of the culture to some degree, right?
Massive a part of the culture.
Is it still part of the culture as a professional athlete?
It's not as much. And I struggle with it because, again, it was the end of the week. Hey, let's have a, 6-pack of beers and hang out out back and, just enjoy the fruits of a win. And it's a Monday night and we're off Tuesdays. And then you don't have a lot of people raising their hand to do that. Hey, sorry, tomorrow I got a business venture I'm looking into. Tomorrow there's a charitable event. Tomorrow I have, my kids are running around. Tomorrow I have a massage. I have this and that and the other thing, so that was a unique part of me when I came in as rookie. I'm like, do we ever celebrate here? And we do, but it was just a little bit different. You got to kind of find your group that works with you. And, over the years, I've matured on it and made better decisions. And not that I was really reckless before with it, but I was like, hey, like we just beat the Bucks, let's let's get a couple beers or something, and you find your group that does that. But I think it's definitely unique. It's definitely unique. In college, you were like ripping it up Friday, Saturday. It's everything we did. I mean, that's our social lives. How I met my wife, so like that was what we did at University of Florida. Like doesn't get many better places than playing football and going out and have a good time. So yeah, it's a great question, of where it's going. Like for me now, it's the off season. So when we go on vacation, I'm pretty good in season. Probably once every 2 weeks, have some drinks. Maybe once every 3 weeks, we'll have a big night. Like Christmas Eve night, we had a big night with the boys, which was really cool because our families aren't in town. We're all kind of scattered. Kids are in bed. Hey, let's go meet for drinks. We had a big night, great time. Lay around on Christmas, eat, sweat a little bit and go back to work on the next day. So, but in the off season, it's unique because it could get off the rails a little bit for you. You have to really find what you want to do and back to recovery of what that needs to look like. So we went to Key West for 2 weeks and we had a great time. I trained through a lot of the fun, the eating and the drinking, getting up every day, going for a lift, hitting the bike, hitting the Stairmaster, because again, that's a part of my mental side of my job where I literally need to check out. And I think I have a good base in my mind of when I need to check. And just boom, become a Pirate and a Mike Leach and a Jimmy Buffett in Key West. Like that's kind of our safe haven. Yeah. Now, when I go to 30A, I'm in a very much of a health kick because of how tremendous the fitness can be there. Seeing you, going next door, getting a clean eat, all yoga, and then I'm on the beach running the steps in Blue Mountain Beach, like the health food store there. Like we're just healthier. We love that vacation. We have one booked for May, which is like kind of the heart of my off season. And like, I can't wait to go there. I got to call and get a set up appointment with you. But, I think that's a journey too. When I'm down there, it's like, okay, are we going to have a day where we're going to sit and drink on the beach the whole time? Or are we going to have a couple cocktails somewhere for dinner? Make that decision. So I'm just kind of filling everybody in on what that world looks like as a pro athlete. Yeah. And I think where marijuana comes in, I'm not a marijuana user, but a lot of players are, and I think it's a healthier alternative than Vicodin or these pain meds that a lot of people are on. And I do see in the nutrition world, especially in the football world and athletics, it's like, do we want to give somebody another anti-inflammatory and another way to take the healthy attributes that are coming to heal them out of their body with anti-inflammatories? Or are we going to give somebody who is in pain, something that's going to just help them deal with that a little bit better? Sorry, I hit my mic here. I see that's becoming a little bit into our profession. Has to now there's be legal things with that, but I see a lot of that. I would say 70 to 8% of the NFL is a marijuana user on either a weekly, monthly, or daily basis.
Everything you just talked about, I think it's really fascinating, quite frankly, that we have this culture that was, especially sports, wrapped around alcohol to some degree, right? Yeah. And especially if you come from a college, because that's what college is really about. You went there to mostly party, and then you played sports while you're there.
And school too.
And some school, right? Anyways, so I love hearing that there's an evolution, quite frankly. I talk about all the time my evolution with alcohol, and same thing. College, I drank a lot, and then over time, and this is exactly what I hear you saying, as it didn't play as much role or value in my life, it just started going away. I never drew a hard line and said, I'm not going to drink anymore, but I haven't drank in like 10 years.
Nice.
Yeah. And it's literally like, it's just it every day. It's not just, it doesn't serve me now. That's it. That's the only conversation around it. And loving hearing that we have these athletes that put literally their bodies, you guys are putting your bodies on the line, that are having an alternative now to not use Vicodin and not to use Percocet every day. Yeah. So I think that's a big wise up for the NFL. And I think it's whatever it is, it's better than what it was, period.
They've pulled back the throttle on the testing. Now we have to play it on their game, and there's more different things that come with that we'll lose, but they have pulled back the throttle a little bit. We get tested once a year for street drugs, and if you pass that test, then you're okay to perform, or maybe not. I don't want to get myself in trouble here, but you're not getting tested again. So it's a shame, because a lot of people kind of died for those sins. Players in the past that would smoke a joint after a game and calm down a little bit, because there's a lot of guys when they play a game, they can't sleep after.
No.
They're not sleeping. They're up for 48 straight hours. What's that do for your recovery?
Yeah.
So there's different products to help with that. I've been with Som Sleep. I love that. It's a great sleep product I use. It's a sleep drink, a lot of natural magnesiums, etc. that helps me, keep kicking ass.
Yeah. So let's talk tribe for a minute. We mentioned it several times. So you have, if I was to observe you, you have your tribe that you call your teammates.
Yeah.
And then maybe you put your coaches a little bit different than that, because they probably play a little bit different role.
I have a pretty close knit coaches group.
Okay.
Over the years, it's kind of what I'm drawn to. Like, I'm drawn to have a beer with you. Well, not a beer. We work out together, whatever that is. I'm drawn to that. Like my father-in-law, my dad, like I love that old, that crowd of maturity. I enjoy the young crowd too. Don't get me wrong, but I don't mean to cut you off. I have a strong coaches nucleus, several at my wedding. Is probably the same amount as players, if not more than players.
Wow.
Yep.
And I think that I think tribe speaks so much to where we're headed. And then, and same thing, as long as we're value to the tribe, right? So people forget that we have to be valued to that tribe. We can't be, the one holding it back. So I love,
Great point.
Yeah. And we forget that sometimes. You can't pick a tribe and be like, oh, all those men and women are awesome, I'm going to go join their tribe. Like, we have to add value. Right. So
that's a great point, because there's people in our lives now where it's like, are they moving in the same direction as us?
Yeah.
And it's not even just health, it's just mindset. And that's what, when you're growing up is like, and I've learned that, I've had a lot of really great friends over the years, whether it's football, whatever it is, a lot of it's driven through sports and being together, but it's like, hey man, people are having kids, or people are doing this, and we're just like, full bore in this direction, or even in this way, this is where I'm going with it. So that's something that I run into personally too, with my thoughts.
Yeah. And I think, having that observation and recognize it in our life. And, it's never saying any person is good or bad, but recognizing where they fit into us all kind of moving in the right direction. I've had the opportunity I know your wife, and I know your father-in-law. We can't spend 40 minutes talking and not talk about Fred.
Guy's a legend, man. He gets after it. Hey, Freddie, Doc's talking to you about doing the same workouts every year. The guy does the same workouts. He never changed it. And Doc, he stopped lifting heavier weights too. I'm like, he doesn't lift anymore. He just takes a 30-pound dumbbell and walks around with it and does some med ball squats. I'm like, dude, the guy used to be. Talk to him, Doc. He's listening. Give him a little advice here.
I'll have my talk with him, because you know what? One of my favorite statements is be hard to kill. And if you're going to be hard to kill, it means you have to be a strong human being. So no matter where we are in life, we have to keep challenging ourselves. And
Fred is that guy too, just so you know, everybody. Like, Fred challenges himself, but
he does. I love it. He comes down, he's doing the stairs and just getting after it. And he's like 60 years old or whatever.
Kills it.
Love it.
He's like a 40-year-old though. Like that's his, and he is though, because his mindset's there, his goals are there, his diet, right? His daughter is harder on him probably than what she should be, but what?
She should be that hard on him. She definitely should be.
That's where his goals are, So I'm like, stop complaining, Fred. If your goals weren't there, be a little bit different.
Yeah. That's one of the things I love so much about the tribe and being available for accountability.
That's hard, man.
It is. It's super, super
I'm
hard.
trying to get some of the people in my tribe a little bit more available for accountability. It's hard.
It's hard. And it goes back to almost where we started with this, that the thought of failure often is the inhibiting factor for us to move forward. Accountability basically means that, Colin, if I let you hold me accountable and say, Doc, what are you doing? I thought you eat McDonald's today. Like, what's up with that? If we don't have the relationship where you can say that, then I'm in trouble if I don't have people in my life that would say that, right? Especially as a healthcare guy. So, but the willingness to be held accountable, I think there's really two things that hold us back. And in anything you're moving forward, especially as an entrepreneur, I think you'll love this. Either we don't have a proper strategy in place. So as an athlete, that's why we have coaches. They say, young man, I know you think you know what you're doing here, but go this way. Do it like this. Get a little lower, push a little harder. We need strategies. In my world, that often means that people don't know how to get from where they are to over here because it's an unknown. Health is unknown for a lot of people, whether they're losing weight or balancing hormones. Get with someone that has a good strategy. And the other part is the accountability. And that is literally what a coach, a mentor, a friend, a true friend can hold you accountable. Like you're talking, would you say his name was Mike, your buddy?
Mike, the player with Tommy with the Panthers.
Yeah.
Stud player. Atlanta kid, Tommy Tremble, one of the top
Okay.
tight ends, 3rd round pick. I know you're Atlanta guy. 3rd round pick from out of Notre Dame. Like, this guy is a stud. I think he's got the potential to be one of the best tight ends in the league.
Beautiful. So a guy
I'm trying to help him, like, Tommy. Focus.
Yeah. And that is what becomes huge, is when you finally have more and more available accountability. I think is absolutely huge. I know it is in the health world. So the people who are accountable to their health, and I think in the most important part for accountability. So I like this, and we'll wrap up with a little bit of this. So I always like to say, as a guy, I always tell my wife that I'm going to outlive her. I'll never leave her alone. I'll never leave her with that fear or that pain of trying to do this without me.
That's strong.
It is. And that's when we really think about that, though, the odds are stacked against me. Women live longer.
Yeah.
But I know I love my wife, and I want to make sure that she's never in that space. So I'd challenge every guy that's listening to this to take that as an oath, right? And raise the bar and let them know, because our family wants to have some of that security from us. And when you think about that, the only way that's happening, and you and I, we have it tough because I know your wife and how healthy she is and how committed and how disciplined she is. Same with mine. So we got our backs up against the wall to achieve something like that. So with that being said, let me hear your last little bits. There would be two things I want to. First question I'm going to ask is, what is something about Colin the football player or Colin the human being that nobody knows that you would want to share with us?
Oh, wow. Man, that's a great question. I'll say this. I go back to the last topic. It has been, and I'm trying to be emotional, it has been so fulfilling with the men I go to work with, and I hope I can go back to Carolina because I absolutely loved it. The tight end room in Carolina, Gio Ricci, Ian Thomas, Tommy Tremble, and Stephon Sullivan, to allow me to put the guard down like we talked about, to allow me to share my knowledge and share my story. And they call me out on my BS too. I call them out on theirs. That is very rare in professional sports. On personal levels, we travel together. On personal levels, we venture off together. On personal levels, we disappear from the game together, and then we reappear and engage in the game together and put the work in. Tribe. It's like nothing. It's the biggest high of my career this year. We're in Seattle. I'm not even playing. But all week, Ian Thomas and I are watching Seattle Seahawks and how Cam Irving, no, not Cam Irving. Irving, Cam Irving's the offensive tackle. The defensive end for Seattle, he slipped my mind right now. Played at West Virginia, played forever. Irving. He would cross face. And when he would cross face, he'd get this split before, and he would try to put a tight end in a tough situation. And I and Ian are working on it. I'm not even healthy enough to play. And he knocks this block out, and we hit for a 30-yard run. And Ian and I are hugging and emotional after the play, and you're in Seattle, and there's 80,000 people there. So what people may not know about me is maybe that is what I truly love. And that is the biggest high in the world. That, again, being around people that allow me to engage in them, my thoughts, and then give it back to me, because I've gotten better, because I've been able to be coachable, put my guns down. Yeah, of course we're stubborn on things, but overall, that's a great question. And that's the first thing that popped into my mind.
Beautiful. That's a perfect spot to end there. I love that you shared that with us, and it shines through you, brother. Like it's crystal clear that behind you there's an incredible human being there.
I want people to be happy. You know,
Yeah,
that's
it's
it.
clear.
I love events. Like we put this event of 40 people on, of fishing and drinking and shuffleboard in Key West, Florida every year. We had 40 people this year for it. 4 boats going out.
Wow.
And we it's the whole thing. I love that. We had the Thompson family football camp down in Key West this year. Absolutely love that. We had all the tight ends in town for Carolina this year. They help with the camp and organizing that and just like showing them some things I've been blessed to do and them allowing me to do that. We're going to London together here for about 5 days coming up. So yeah, just journeys and enjoying the non-materialistic things in the world is like really what gets me going.
Love it. Colin, if our listeners want to follow you, and where else can they find you?
Yeah, so don't worry about me. Support our media company. That'd be great. Not for long media. NFL stands for not for long, notforlongmedia.com. All our social media is not for long media. We have all these different podcasts, different things, from military background to sports, to women in sports, to you name it, pop culture. We have it, baseball, football, constantly evolving. And then, I'm Colin Thompson 86 on Instagram, Colin Thompson TU on Twitter, just having fun, chopping it up, eating a bunch of food, having a good time, working my ass off, Doc, to get those cheesesteaks out of me. But other than that, doing good.
Well, man, I appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to see you in May. And a little shout out to the rest of the family for connecting us. And it's, man, thanks for sharing everything today. Thanks for keeping it real. Keep doing your thing. It's interesting. I have this notion, Colin. I don't know if this fits into your plans, but I definitely see you in the broadcast world somehow, somewhere. I don't know why or how, but it just shines to me that's going to be, if it's one of your passions that you put into the next part of your life or your journey, I think that's going to be, those doors are going to open for you.
Well, thank you. It means a lot to come from you. And I think, again, given the Dupree family, their flowers, another family moving in the right direction and great people that have led me to you and some amazing people down there in 30A. I mean, my wife and I really, and still will always consider trying to move there and live there and start our lives there. But, start our lives at 30. But my point is, the broadcast thing's funny. And I, I've a minute or two. Like I want to coach, and that's my passion. But my family's my passion. And it's tough. Yeah. It's really tough. Playing's my passion. I'm still going. I'm very lucky for that. But the next career, the coaching side, is really hard because I see from my own 2 eyes. I'm not the player that just sits down, take notes, and goes perform at this high level. Folks, I have to be dialed in on everything. So I see the coaches and how their family dynamic is. I have more coaches friends probably than playing friends. It's tough. And I'm not down to be tough, but I feel like my parents put me in this amazing place because of the time they invested in me. And if I can't give my kids that same time, what type of parent am I? So, that's where we're at with that, Doc. But I think the broadcasting career allows you to do that. I don't want to miss birthdays and, all that stuff. That's, it's tough.
Well, maybe there's a new path you can create. Maybe you figure it out where the kids are coming with you somehow. Who knows, right?
That's what everybody says. Figure it out. And that's what my mom says. Figure it out. Just do it.
So just do it. Amen. Well, man, I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here today. I'm looking forward to seeing a couple weeks at this point down in May. Man, appreciate you. Have yourself an awesome day.
Thank you, Doc.
Colin Thompson, you're the band. Appreciate you. Go be awesome, buddy.
Thank you, brother. Have a great day.
Thanks.